Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. And as you've seen from the title, today we're gonna be talking about a G spot, right? Let me give my quick disclaimer right now. We can start this shit off so we can get all bullshit out of the way. We are not going to be talking about playing to nobody's ass. We are not going to be on no type time where we're talking about it being a good thing or whatever, the bad thing, whatever. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. That's not what the fuck I'm talking about. Right. But this is an important topic to talk about because of all of the encompassing information that underlies it. Right. You feel me? The the conversation came about because I got I got this video clip. Bun sent me a video clip and shit. It was like it was Shakina, whatever, tiny homegirl. She was talking about like, yo, men fucking they G spot is in their asshole or some shit. Like, you feel me? It's the prostate, whatever. She like the G spot is in the asshole. She like, so her logic was, why y'all think when men bust off, they clench their ass cheeks and lean forward and shit, and you know what I mean? It's like because that's what a G spot is, So you talking about. She said something about like you want to assist them in getting that nut or whatever the case may be by sticking your finger in his butt, sticking something in his butt, whatever. I don't fucking know. I don't care. I just care about the science behind the shit and the logic behind what it is, because it's like a lot of people talk about shit that they don't know about because there's bigger shit that goes into it, right? So I want to get that disclaimer first because I'm not condoning, co-signing, or telling a motherfucker to let a motherfucker play in your ass. No, bruh. No, that's not what the fuck we doing here. But we're going to break down a little bit of what, the quote unquote G spot is supposed to be and what it is, And I wanted to talk about it because a lot of people, would say shit like, well, the male G spot is in his ass. And I'm like, how you know? And they'd be like, well, because they be like, cause it's like, that's where the prostate is, but it's like, why? Why? Everybody can tell you certain shit what they postulate, but there's still a whole bunch of more layers to it that tie into it. Why that area is so sensitive, why that area is, it does what it does, you know what I'm saying? But this is not to say that you should be putting shit in your ass to play with your shit to get a better nut. Fuck ever. Look, I don't give a fuck how better that nut may be. I don't want that better nut. Fuck all that shit. But I did want to, go in and talk about that shit because it's like, so many people are so like perceptive and they're easily, I ain't gonna say perceptive, they're naive and they're easily deceived and swayed in their thought process when they don't understand or don't know certain things. And so they'll take the advice of a motherfucker based off of falsified logic and shit. You feel me? Like a lot of times the logic really don't make sense. You feel me? And in her conversation, she was saying like, yeah, because when men nut, we, clench our butt cheeks and shit and lean forward. It's like, it's deeper than that. It's not just clenching your butt cheeks. It's contracting the musculature of that entire area. People don't get that part. And then the fact that she's not a man, she doesn't know where we feel our orgasms at either way. You feel me? It's typically in the front of the thighs. There's a strong tingle in the front of the thighs area, right? And that's nowhere near the fucking prostate. So it's like, what is this entire bullshit that people are trying to push and trying to project? I don't know why motherfuckers want to have the ass play with or whatever the case may be. But I can give the example of I can tell why the perception is that it feels good or whatever the case may be based off of a scientific perspective. You feel me? Not an experiential one, a scientific expression, because it does tie into certain things scientifically and biologically, right? But and if for my brothers, if you like getting your ass played with and shit, this conversation might not be for you. But you feel me? To each their own. You got to own your eat. So that's what bad your groceries. Do your motherfucking thing. But before we dive heavy into it, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _scene_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who would like to donate and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And to all those who do tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into Frail Conversations, the G spot. And don't forget to visit imjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit imjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit imjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit imjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit imjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit imjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at imjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit imjustseen.com. Pause. Sorry, welcome back. Pause. Like, yo, this shit, this one of those conversations. Well, it ain't gonna be like that, but this one of those conversations, motherfucker be like, yo, I'm gonna have to pause all the way through this shit. It's that shit y'all always be on. Like, how the fuck y'all scream for all? Okay, let's address that shit. How the fuck y'all be screaming pause and y'all get y'all ass played with? What the fuck difference? Like, what the fuck is the purpose of that? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Y'all motherfuckers be like, you like, y'all say some shit like, yo, I want me a 6-inch pause. Like, you go to Subway and shit and be like, yo, I want a 6-inch pause, right? But you getting your ass played with. What the fuck are you pausing your words for when your actions say otherwise? But I'm not gonna get into that shit. I don't want to address that shit because I don't want this to be that type of episode. It's like, oh, he's homophobic. No, I'm cisphilic. Cisphilic and heterophilic. Bow. So anyway, um on the type time of the process. All right, so let's break it down, right? So let's break it down. Let's start from the G spot, right? So people are saying like the G spot is the place in the area where, the man, I don't know what the fuck it is, but they're basing it off the principle one that the G spot of a woman is in the it's at the back of the vagina. You feel what I'm saying? It's at the back of the vagina. And well, more or less, it's in that area. Like it takes a decent amount of it takes depth and girth in order to hit the woman's G spot, right? But it's a matter of a sensory thing, right? So logically, they're like, well, if ours is inside, men's is inside too. That's really the only logic that I can come to, the conclusion I can come to based off of what I understand and what I know of why motherfuckers are thinking that the men's is there too. So they be like, well, if the woman's is in there, the man G spot is there too. So it gotta be his prostate. Okay. All right. Whatever. The reason why it is the prostate. And they're like, so because it's the prostate, as they're making it like, yo, you gotta go into the ass in order to get that motherfucker. It's like, what? Where y'all get that shit from? But for one, they probably get it from a motherfucker playing the ass. And they get it from the perspective of the fact that it will feel good based off of the fact of what is innervated in that area, right? What is innervated in that area? So when we're looking at the body as a whole, right? The nervous system. Yeah, I'm about to break this shit all the way down. Just had to get y'all attention real quick. So when we look at the nervous system is twofold. Okay, it has, it's I ain't gonna say it's twofold, it's multifold because you have parasympathetic and you have sympathetic, which is parasympathetic is rest and digest, sympathetic is fight or flight response, right? Then you also have afferent and efferent nerves, right? So you have nerves that send the signals from the brain to the body. Then you have the nerves that send the signals from the body back to the brain. Of course, it's the same fucking nerve that goes from the brain to that particular part of the body, but you have two different directions in which the nerve impulses go. You have the nerve impulses to the thing and the nerve impulses from the thing, right? So in the body, we have, what is it, 31 cranial? No, we have 31 nerves, 31 spinal nerves, 12 cranial nerves, right? So the brain, the full brain stem and spine is like pretty much one thing. But you have the 12 cranial nerves and then you have the 31 spinal nerves. But the spinal nerves are broken down into thoracic, lumbar, and sacral, right? So more going one step further, each of the 31 nerves is responsible for going to a certain section of the body, certain place of the body to innervate that nerve. If you, from the higher up down, it's like you have, for example, you have the brachial plexus, right? Brachial, if you understand the Latin and you understand the language, in which medical science is built on. Brachy means arm. The brachial part means the arm. So the brachial plexus is the plexus of nerves that innervates the arm. So it's the shoulder, the posterior deltoid, anterior deltoid, the bicep, tricep, um, anconeus, uh, your extensors, your flexors, and your forearms, all your finger, your carpals, your metacarpal, like all not metacarpals, those are bones. Those are the bones, the muscles in there. So you have like your thenar muscles and shit like that. But the muscles are all innervated off of that nerve system. So there's like a highway, it comes through, creates the brachial plexus. I think the brachial plexus, if I'm not mistaken, is from C5 or some shit like that to T1 or T2 or some shit. No, look, I don't remember the exact details, but I'm gonna break it down anyway. So the brachial plexus, it runs down. So if something happens in your brachial plexus, it shuts the fucking arm down. Now, the lower down it is, the better, because the higher up muscles can be used. So let's say you have uh, the brachial plexus, it eventually diverges into the radial and ulnar nerves, right? So the ulnar nerve, wait, no, am I on the foot of the arm? No, because you have the ulnar. Yeah, the ulnar nerve is for the pinky. The radial is for the anyway. So the radial and the ulnar nerves, right? Those aspects are divergence of that. So let's say those two nerves get severed and shit. So anything down might happen. Like you might not be able to move your hand and your fingers, but you can still move your forearm, still move your elbows, still your shoulders. So if something happens in, say, your the higher up, let's say the nerves that go to your triceps, right? If something happens to your tricep, from the tricep down won't work. You feel me? Your bicep might still work, whatever the case may be. So, and I know it's like, what the fuck you talking about? I'm supposed to be talking about G spot. Follow me. I'm setting my motherfucking scene. Damn it. So anyway, when it plays itself out that way, the nerves and shit, the higher up it goes, the more it shuts down, right? So I'm saying that because it is important, because in addition to those nerves, like I said, you have the afferent and efferent nerve signals that are running back and forth all day long. They're firing off back and forth, right? So every nerve in the body is also connected to a dermatome. So when we itch, when we tingle, when these things, those are responsible. Those things are the nervous responses that are triggered by the dermatomes. Derma means skin. The tome is it's the nerve that innervates that region. So the tone part is the region. So it's the region of skin, this particular region of skin, basically, right? So when any nerve that associates with a certain part of the body, it also associates with everything in that region. So a lot of times, you know how you ever had that quote unquote itch you couldn't scratch? It feels like it's deep within your muscle, because it is deep within your muscle. It is a part of the layer of that musculature. So that itching nerve is sending something. So you got to press deeper into your skin or into your body and actually get it, get the scratch. But then you have other itches that are like the external ones. They're more so on the top. So it's all sensory, right? That's the sensory side of it. So another piece to it is that the actual dermatome, the actual nerve itself may not be in the exact region of that dermatome, because the dermatome has to travel. For example, the T4 nerve, the thoracic nerve number 4, right? It comes from the thoracic area. It's like the fourth one in that thoracic area, simply named T4. That starts off in your back, in the upper area of your back, middle, just a little bit below that little knot that we got in our back, just between our shoulder blades, right there. That little centerpiece is around where the T4 nerve is, right? Now, the T4 dermatome, this is where all of the sensory nerves and sensory areas, as far as your itching, your tingling, your sensations and shit like that, they're tied to that dermatome too, but they go to a different area. So the T4 nerve has an association for the T4 dermatome. Part of that T4 dermatome runs through your nipple line. You feel what I'm saying? So that shows the offsetness of the nerve itself and the dermatome that it can affect. So it's an entire area that affects that whole nipple area that runs around the back and up to the dermatome, right? And all the shit you could look up. Just you can go to Google and type in a dermatome chart, and you'll see it mapped out, just what I'm talking about. So our sensories, our tingling and stuff like that. So it's like if you get your nipples licked, right? You feel me? And it feels good, it tingles, it's because that innervation is being sent to the T4 dermatome. This is also why if you get your nipples lit, and I'm only saying it because this is something I've experienced. And shit feels good as fuck. Like I see why women love this shit. But you'll get a tingle in your spine, a tingle in like the upper middle of your spine, because the dermatome and the nerve are not separate from each other, right? So how does this tie into the G spot? Because I know I'm talking about nipples and shit like this, but how does this tie into the G spot? Because the G spot area, that entire area is where the sacral nerves are. Now, we know we talk about chakras and we talk about the metaphysics of shit, how the sacral energy is sexual energy and all of that other good shit. The sacral nerves are no different. So when people talk about kundalini and energy like that and the energy that runs through our chakras and shit, it has to run through our spinal column. So this is where the dermatomes are important, because the sensory perception is there as well. This is why, like, when you're meditating and everything, it's like when you fall in deep meditation, your body dissolves. You get so still that your body goes in and in and in, and then it starts to dissolve, and you don't feel your outer environment anymore because you have now gone internally. You feel what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, bro, it's a metaphysical science to the shit. But anywho, when we look at that area, it is the sacral area. So the dermatome structure for the anus, I want to say, is S1, S2, and S3. There's 3 dermatomal nerves. So the nerves that are associated with are sacral nerve number 1, sacral nerve number 2, and sacral nerve number 3. Within that, this is where it's like real fine tuned that I'm gonna have to go back and actually pinpoint, but I know the general area. So the pudendal nerve is the orgasm nerve. That's the orgasmic nerve, right? But the pudendal nerve also it extends off of that, and it goes towards the penis and shit like that. I think it sits like around the top of the penis, or whatever the case may be, and it starts to diverge. So, but it's also connected to the prostate. The reason why it's connected to the prostate, because this pudendal nerve is coming off of a plexus of nerves that are part of the sacral plexus, S1, S2, S3. Just how I was talking about with the brachial plexus, you have different divergence, right? So with the higher up the nerve is and the more active everything at the bottom is, that nerve still innervates everything there. So when we have moments of constipation, when we have moments of a weak bladder, and all of these things are affected by the same plexus of nerves that the pudendal nerve comes off of. You dig what I'm saying? So when we consider what muscles are there, because now that we're talking about the dermatomes, that is the skin area. So the anus, the butts, the anus, and then the internal parts of that's the S1, S2, S3 dermatome structure, right? All important pieces of the body, because that's where the sensory is, based off of the afferent and efferent communication between the nerves from the brain down to that location. You feel me? I know it's a lot of information and we still got a lot ways to go, but I hope you walking with me and you fucking with me on this, right? Because it's a lot more to go. So the pudendal nerve, as I said, extending from that plexus of sacral nerves, right? What it is it's connected to the nerves that innervate all of the pelvic floor. This is why Kegels are important. I don't know if y'all heard me. I did an episode and I even made a post about it, like erectile dysfunction. I don't know who got it. I don't know if you got it. I don't know if you struggle with it. I don't know. I really don't give a fuck. I just know that there's ways to offset it and there's ways around it. And um, the erectile dysfunction comes from a weak pelvic floor in conjunction, because all of these are generated and innervated by the same nerve plexus. You feel what I mean? Follow me. This is very, very important. So when we do Kegels and shit, and we can do Kegels too. All it is squeezing your pelvic floor. You don't need a vagina to do it, because a vagina has a pelvic floor too. It's about the muscles there. You have like the piriformis muscle, the pelvic. It's a whole plexus of muscles. I don't want to go down all of them because it's a lot to remember. But that area, you have the pelvic floor muscles, you have the buttock muscles, the gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus. All of these are tied into that nerve of that plexus of nerves, right? So let's just take it back to the arm, right? If you ever been asleep and shit, and your girl, your lady, or you had your lady and shit sleeping on your arm, and your shit went numb. She laid in the bicep part, right? You ever paid attention to how everything from her head down gets that fuzzy feeling like the static on a TV, but everything up, it's not. There's nothing wrong with it, because the innervation works by the farther away it is. Once that clamp hits, it goes to the farther part out, and it doesn't affect what's above it. You feel what I'm saying? So when we look at the pudendal nerve, that is one of the farthest nerves out that is extended from the sacral nervous plexus, the sacral plexus, right? And it goes where? To the penis, which is actually in that area, the farthest thing that sticks out. It's amazing. The human body is just, it tells you everything that it needs, that it wants you to know, and it's going to do. You feel me? And what it does. But we don't know the body the way we're supposed to. They don't teach us this shit for real. You feel me? I feel everybody, like anatomy and physiology should be something everybody learns in high school, period. But the depth in which you learn it, the depth in which everybody should learn it, in my opinion, in high school, is the depth in which they teach it in med school. There's no reason why anybody outside of you should know your body better than you. But again, I digress. We're talking about the G spot and shit, right? So this pelvic floor area, right? It becomes very, very powerful because in addition to that, you have two specific things that are very, very crucial in our lives that we have been damaging that affect us in the long run. And that is our colon and our bladder. Again, this entire region, this entire plexus of nerves is all affects the same shit. That whole base area. You feel what I'm saying? That whole base area. That's why the same motion that you get when when you busting off and shit, and you do that squeeze and it jumps and it shoots out and shit, that's the same thing you get when you on your last little dribble of pee and you trying to get the rest out. Same action because it's innervated by the same muscle innervated by the same nerve because it's all in the same musculature. You dig what I'm saying? Here's why I'm saying that that's important, because your pelvic floor begins to weaken when you remain constipated and you hold your bladder too long. So imagine over the course of our, like, as I don't know about everybody else's culture, I can only fucking co-sign for mine. And I know 98.7% of my culture follows this. We don't use public bathrooms. We don't use public bathrooms. You had a rare occasion where some motherfuckers just can't bear it and they do it. In my public bathrooms, I don't mean pissing, I mean shitting. We do not sit down on public toilets unless we can absolutely avoid it. You feel me? We're not going, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to shit in public, right? But because of that, from childhood on, like, you got to think about, we're in school for 8 hours a day. And a lot of us have been taught don't use public bathrooms unless you got to stand up. As men, we can stand up. We cool. You feel me? So it's like your bladder, you get to pee it off and shit. You get to pee, and that's one dynamic to it, right? But then when you shitting and you holding it, that's a whole different problem. This is why, like, when you got to shit real bad, you feel me? I know why he's talking about shit because it's important. Y'all need to keep your colons clear anyway. So this is a part of helping you prevent prostate and a whole bunch of other shit. So it's like when your colon real heavy, you know you got to shit, but then when it hit, you eat something at lunch, midday, and you're like, I got to shit, but you hold it. You feel that sharp pain. That is a dermatome. That is a part of the dermatome. You feel what I'm saying? Those sharp pains, those signals that are sending, that are cramping, that is the dermatome part. So yeah, the musculature still has to be, and it's the dermatome part based off of the fact that the muscles have to be contracted in order for us to hold that shit in. The two sphincter muscles, the bladder sphincter muscle and the anal sphincter muscle, they are contracted to keep the shit in until we have time to let it go. We spend 8 hours holding that shit in. You feel me? Holding that shit in. When I was in seventh grade, one of my best friends and shit, like, we used to always get on the bus at my house and shit. So he'll come over. But he knew, like, there was literally a window of time. And I'm still like this to this day. But like, there's a window of time where I'd be like, bro, I gotta take my morning shit. So, I would leave the door open for him so he can chill, you know what I'm saying? Just in case it was cold or whatever, leave the door open. He come in, we get on the bus and shit. But he'll walk in, he'll be like, hey, you taking your morning shit? You know it. You feel me? Like, I had got conditioned to that. But it was in that, and I would always shit when I got home. But in between time, I never shitted at school. So it was like, it was what it was. But, and then that trickled down into work, high school, all of these other things, college. You never really, college really changed your perspective. And this is one of the reasons why I'm learning that a lot of people started gaining weight and got overweight a lot quicker too, because a lot of people won't shit. Like, they were too embarrassed. Like, I was fortunate enough to live in a dorm where I was in a suite where it was just me and like four other people, well, eight other people, because it was four rooms. So it was eight people total. So it was me and seven other people. So it's like we had two bad. It was different. It wasn't as much. But the people that had, the ones that lived on the hall, I can feel them why they don't. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what the fuck, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's public shit different. So we keeping that shit in. And now to keep our shit in, because we can't, and then it's like, now we're gonna take it to the next level. Now we eating cheese, we eating all this other shit. So when it starts to ferment and stick, our body is now saying, I don't release shit until this particular time. You feel what I'm saying? So I just hold it. Now it's recycling in our bodies, whatever. But this whole time, outside of the health shit of it, recycling its toxins in our body, it's making our pelvis floor stay contracted for so long. You feel me? Even our bladders, like, in school, I remember this was another way that our shit got fucked up, because you would have to have a hall pass and shit. Not only a hall pass, but you would have to have passes. Like, I remember being in high school, we got 6 bathroom passes for the year. Oh, you got to be responsible enough to go between classes. Bitch, fuck you. We got 3 minutes to get from one class to the next. Ain't no fucking I can't be late. This a whole bunch of mental training and fucking conditioning that has fucked us all up, right? So we know I can't be late because I'm getting punished. So I just use now you got 6 bathroom passes. 6 bathroom passes in a 90-day semester. You can only go to the bathroom 6 times in 90 days. Let that sit for a minute. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm not saying you, because some people had the good, but you had bathroom passes. And once you used them, oh, you couldn't go no more. My bladder doesn't stop getting full, bitch. I don't like, but when you keep holding it, those muscles stay contracted. Those stay, those muscles stay contracted. So now we got to always hold our bladder in, and we're always holding in our shit. That whole pelvic floor, all of those muscles are always innervated, right? They're always strong, they're always contracted. And because of that, every nerve fiber in that aspect is still being fired off too. You feel what I'm saying? It's just all in different responses. So when we look at how that when we look at how that ties into all of this, is because I'm bringing it back to the dermatomes and I'm bringing it back to the muscles, right? Muscles, right? So as we get older, as men, what happens when we start to experience ED or whatever the case may be? I mean, no funny shit. I'm not trying to brag I don't experience it, so I don't know like what it would be like. You feel me? But I understand the biologically why it happens. You feel what I'm saying? Because as we get older, what happens? We eat more. Like, I started noticing this in college, like, motherfuckers like, "Yo, you let yourself go." Like, I'm relatively the same size I was. I'm probably about 10 pounds heavier than I was when I went into college when I was 18. I'm probably about ten pounds heavier. You feel me? A lot of my peers, they fucking, wow, boom, they blew the fuck up. And then it's like, here I am still roughly about that size now. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm like, but I'm watching them. And then I'm watching my peers and my peer group, and they're like, yo, women are complaining like, yo, men can't stay up, men can't do this. And it's like, now I tie it to their stomach. Like, how heavy is your stomach? You feel me? Because now you're not doing sit-ups, you're not doing crunches, and you're just accumulating all of this mass, and it's sitting at the front of your body, right? So while sitting at the front of your body, what it's actually what it's actually doing is adding weight to your pelvic floor. You feel me? We don't strengthen our back. So that's like the core of our body. It wraps around our entire body. It's not just the sit-ups. We can't just do the sit-ups. You got to do like the Superman. You got to work the lower back. You got to work, you feel what I'm saying? The transverse abdominis, the oblique abdominis. It's a whole system that makes the core, but we just do sit-ups. And then when we just do sit-ups and we stop working out, then we get fat. Our back gets weaker. Now, here's the thing. Our lower back gets weaker and our pelvic floor has to now engage a lot more because our stomachs are heavier. So we like, damn, your penis is the last thing to be innervated by all of those nerves. So now you're sitting at a whole weak pelvic floor. You're sitting at a whole weak lower back. Now the lower back is comprised of course, the base of the latissimus dorsi, and you have the what is it? The gluteus maximus, gluteus minimus, gluteus medius. Those help make up the lower back area. That's why it's like lower back and glutes. You got to work that area. But the weakness in that makes everything have to be tight on the front. So the heavier the stomach gets, the more we have to contract on the ends. Like our body has to contract it on the inside. Now, granted, it may not be heavy. People be thinking it can't be that heavy because you're walking around with it all your life. I mean, all the time that you have it. Yeah, true. But you're walking around with it all the time and your muscles stay, your pelvic floor muscles stay contracted. They stay firing off. The nerves stay innervated. They're in active, engaged mode. And it doesn't seem like much in the moment when you're thinking about the workout or whatever the case may be. But just put water in a little 8-ounce glass. Put water in a little 8-ounce glass and hold it for 8 hours. You feel me? Over time, you're gonna want to put it down because if it's a small, minute amount of weight, it's still gonna accumulate over time. So that's just a metaphor of holding a glass for 8 hours. Imagine holding your stomach for as long as you're fat. No funny shit, no shade or anything like that. But that weight sitting there, you're the same muscles that innervate the bladder, same muscles that innervate the colon, same muscles that keep the stomach from being like that. Like they all have to stay engaged as the stomach gets bigger. So it's not about like losing the stomach, it's about losing the fat that sits around it. 'Cause that shit's heavy as fuck. You feel what I'm saying? That shit's heavy as fuck and it doesn't hold itself up the way muscle does. Like 5 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle are two totally different things, but 5 pounds of muscle is a lot denser because it can also hold itself up. You feel what I'm saying? So when we're tying this in, and I know it's like, damn, nigga, I thought we was talking about the G spot. We are, but there's a lot of shit. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of shit left out of what she was saying about, oh man, contracting. It's like that's where the G spot is. Now we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk as fucking men. We're gonna talk, bruh. Tasty. Anyway, so we have a strong bladder. I mean, we have bladders that we gotta, hold on a regular basis. We don't shit, and then when that stomach starts getting big like that, alternately, and I ain't gonna say alternate, concurrently. I'm gonna use concurrently. Concurrently, we're also constipated. I be asking homies and shit. I be asking homies and shit like, yo, when the last time you shit? Yesterday, day before, 2 days ago. That's not good, bro. Because you holding that shit, this shit has to come out, right? And what's happening is that your body is in a state where it's holding and contracting so much to keep it from coming out. That sphincter is that strong, right? You feel what I'm saying? In addition to that, that shit gets heavy too. A compacted colon is heavy. So not only do you have the weight of the outside of your stomach that sits there and accumulates there, now you have the shit that's sitting inside of your colon, literally, that accumulates and accumulates and accumulates. That shit gets heavy on your pelvic floor too. So now your muscles have to stay in this reality. It's like I have to stay contracted all of this time. You feel me? And you think you're gonna go fuck something? This is why as soon as you put it in, pow, you pop. And you want, nah, girl, I want ready. Let me run it back. Let me run it back. Like, no, it's not about. And I think if we change the perspective of it and actually seen it for what it was, we wouldn't call it erectile dysfunction because we make it seem like the penis don't work. It's like, no, every muscle tied to that shit is already working when the penis is trying to work. It's too much of a load because it's all fired off of the same nervous system, the sacral nerves. You feel what I'm saying? They all come from that. The pudendal nerve is the last nerve to be innervated. So yeah, you'll get up, but even the penis has weight to it. Like, you feel what I'm saying? The penis has weight to it, so the muscles have to contract to hold that up when it's erect. Nigga, I'm holding your stomach. I'm holding your back. I'm holding your shit. And now I gotta hold your dick up. Oh, now you busting quick, nigga. All right, go back down, motherfucker. I ain't holding that shit, bro. And it's like this. Holding knees up, the stomach and the bladder and all the shit, that's a necessity. You feel what I'm saying? The body has already processed this. It may not say the shit, but it's like, yo, that's a necessity. Holding your dick up, that's a want. Because literally, we don't have to walk around with a hard dick all day long. We don't, only when it's time to engage in the sexual activity. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, nigga, you not even gonna help me make this stretch. Are you gonna put this on me? You feel me? So then once we slide in, we be thinking, oh, it's just the pussy was so good, it was so wet. No, your body's already overextended. Now and then you got to think about it too. You're coming in from an angle that requires your pelvis to be used. Because now what makes up the pelvis? The pelvis, if you have the pelvic floor, then you have the muscles on the back of it, like the piriformis muscle, the gluteus maximus medius, and all of that. Those are a part of the pelvis. You feel what I'm saying? So if your lower body, your lower back is weak, you feel me? Your abs are gone. You feel me? Your pelvic floor is weak because you're not doing the necessary Kegels in it. Like, nigga, you gonna pop as soon as you put the head in. As soon as you put the head in, it's like, yo, when I was young, I used to fuck for like hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, gotta think about it. When you was young, what was you like? 115, 120, 30 pounds? Feel me? 150 if you was athletic and shit at the time. You feel what I'm saying? But your pelvic floor was strong, your lower back was strong, everything was strong. So when your penis got erect, those muscles they weren't already overcompensating, which means the nerves weren't already overstimulated. You feel what I'm saying? Women be like, well, why the fuck couldn't you stay up? The fuck, you see this big ass belly? You know, the last time I shit it, you feel what I'm saying? Like, if you've ever taken a shit and it ended up with a clean colon, you know what it feels like. That whole lower body area feels relaxed. First time I ever experienced it was when I, transitioned into plant based and shit, and then my body started cleaning itself out, and I was like, I had never in my life felt an empty colon, and I felt what it felt like to have an empty bladder, like, and relax it. And not have to, and this is where now, let's fast forward it. We're gonna fast forward it down years down the line. This is what incontinence is. This is why grown ass motherfuckers need diapers and shit, depends and all of this shit. Their whole shit has been broken down. It has been contracted this whole time. And I know, we gonna get on the G spot. But again, all of this shit is important. Depends for men, you gotta wear the pads and all this shit because all of this shit is fucked up. This is so now, tying it in, motherfuckers have worked 40 years under these same conditions. Add the 18, I ain't gonna say 18, because what is it, 13? Because we go to school when we 5. So add the 13 years that we went to school under these same conditions. School and work ain't no different. It's the same shit. You feel me? Same conditions. So that's what, 53 years of our lives? Most motherfuckers die at 60, 70? Do that math. This is how long that has been contracted and tightened and in that space. You feel me? This is why your dick don't work no more. It ain't got shit to like. You can flow all the blood you want to it. It's gonna flow, but the nerves are what's important.
Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we gotta stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now.
This is why they give you the Viagra pill. This is why the Viagra pill, they stimulate the nerves and they keep the nerves erect. That's why they say, yo, erection lasting more than 4 hours is a problem because not only is it affecting the nerves firing off, it's the nerves firing off that are in the pelvic floor, the back of the pelvis that are, you know what I'm saying, the lower back. All of those areas are being triggered at one time to keep you up. That's what they're not. It's like steroids. Ironically, you feel me? It has to use the muscle. It innervates the muscle. It sends a signal that makes the muscle remain innervated. And it's not supposed to be innervated anytime. Like the orgasm is like released, like bam, you let it go. This is why our whole body falls limp because the moment we have an orgasm, every nerve relaxes. It stops firing. That's why we can't, we get that last little. This is what happens. Like this ties into what, Shakana was talking about. You're like, well, when men get that orgasm, they clench their butt cheeks. No, our entire body tightens up. Our entire body tightens up until we release. And then what happens? We let that bitch go and we fall. That's what we're supposed to do. You feel me? There's an old Shakespeare shit, or I think it's Shakespeare, but it's like that time frame of writers and motherfucker. They was like, to die, y'all seen Class Act. To die is to have a sexual orgasm. You feel me? Like there's a song, I just died in your arms tonight. I just nutted and now I gotta fall. Like this is why you bam, let's cuddle, we done, and we go to sleep. The entire body. The orgasm shifts your body from fight or flight response, because that's in a sense what sex is. Sex is supposed to be a rhythmic balance between rest and digest and fight or flight, but we stay in sex and fight or flight. We call it fucking. We pounding shit out. We stay in fight or flight response when we fucking. That's why I tie that into the nervous system too. So we stay in fight or flight response while we fucking. rather than rest and digest. So immediately once we get the orgasm, bam, we automatically shut that shit down and we smooth to rest and digest. That's why we go to sleep instantly, because the entire nervous system shuts down just temporarily. It's like, bing, gotcha. Just lay it down. You feel me? But when it happens so fast and we didn't even work up a sweat, it's like, damn, I'm not sleepy, I'm not tired, but my body was supposed to be in a rest state. So you eventually lay down or whatever the case may be, and but that ties into why the pelvic floor is what it is. So now all of these factors play into what would happen if you stuck your finger in somebody's butt, in a man's butt. It's like, oh, that's where his G spot is. It's like, no, instantly, because the anus itself, the anus itself is an excretory thing. Nothing should be entering that motherfucker. It is an excretory vessel. Shit comes out, literally. You feel me? So it's an excretory vessel. So when something is going in it, the sphincter is kicking in naturally. If you ever gave a baby a thermometer and shit, in order for them, like the baby's, it tightens up because it's a foreign, it's going against the natural order of the body. Anything that the body responds to anything that goes against the natural order of it. You feel me? I don't care what it is. Anything that goes against the natural order of the body will respond in a way that tries to reject it. When you smoking and you cough, your body is saying, I can't have this in me. When you are putting something in an anus, the anus clenches. This is why they have so many different anal drugs to loosen the shit up. Because it's not like the body responds negatively there. It says, you do not enter here. You shall not pass. The fuck? Motherfuckers is passing anyway. So that's why they're putting all these different gels and all of this other shit, because the body says, on the contrary to the vagina, you feel what I'm saying? The vagina opens up like a lotus flower, gets wet, and lets you in. The anus don't do that. So there's no way you could say logically that the prostate is supposed to be there, because your body naturally says, no, don't put your finger in there. You feel me? You're not supposed to do that shit. Your body, you don't even have to consciously register it. Your body will shut it down because it's designed to make things come out. You feel what I'm saying? So when, from that perspective, off rip, the muscles are clenched when you're trying to go, like, that's the first thing. So now we're talking about the dermatomes. We talked about the dermatomes. We talked about the nervous innervation. So now, for the anus to clench, what muscles would have to be involved? The gluteus, what is it? The medius, the gluteus medius, the piriformis muscles, and all of the muscles that are the base of the pelvis. They're contracting because this is not supposed to happen. Just like when you got a shit, they relax so the motherfucker can come out. They relax for the shit to come out, and they lock in for the shit to stay in. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why it does that. So it creates that innervation. Now, mind you, like I said, we have the S2, S1, S2, and S3 dermatomes in the area, specifically S2 and S3, right? Those sensory dermatomes are also tied to the epidental nerve. So if you touch the pelvis, yes, it's going to stimulate that, and that feeling. It's the same feeling that's stimulated when you actually put a penis in a vagina and all of those things. Like, that sensory is all of that. So when you're touching the pelvis, what you're doing is, when you're touching the prostate has to have nerves too, because it is responsible for secreting certain, because it's a gland. So it's responsible for secreting certain, I'm drawing a blank on the fucking word. It's not hormones. Is it? No. Fuck. Glands secrete shit. They secrete different shit. But anyway, the gland itself is like, once it's touched, it has nerves too that are responsible for stimulating it. It's seminal vesicle fluid. That's what it is. So the seminal fluid is what it secretes from its gland. And this is the shit that's quote unquote pre-nut. Like, people be like, yo, there's something wrong with you. Like, when you have pre-cum, too much of it is not a good thing. It's a sign of a damaged prostate, so they say, whatever the case may be. But it's actually not that. It's not what they try to say. Just like women get wet, we got to get wet too. Like, we have to lubricate the shaft and the urethra in order for it to shoot out smoothly. You feel what I'm saying? In order for it to shoot out smoothly. So if we're not doing that, if we don't, like, that's what the prostate is designed for. So in order to do that, the nerves have to be stimulated to say, hey, secrete this liquid. Right? Again, tied to the pudendal nerve. It's tied to the pudendal nerve because it's tied to the entire nervous plexus of the sacrum. You You feel what I'm saying? Now, as I said, I was going to mention this. Now we're bringing this back to the metaphysical side of it, the sacral chakra, the sacral energy. That's why I was talking about sacral energy being sexual energy and shit like that. Like we look at women. Women have embraced this new sexual shit where they be like, "Oh, I'm on my sexual energy." So you see them twerking and shit. Now the woke women doing a little twerking TikTok shit and all this shit. Like it's cool. It's cool. It is what it is. However, women twerk, and this is the dope aspect to actually consider. It's natural. You don't have to think about it. Women twerk, men hump, because that's what our sacral energy does by naturally. Women being givers, women being receivers, men being givers. Humping is a form of giving. We give the dick. You feel what I'm saying? However, twerking, throwing it back, is allowing, like, in a sense, that's what the twerking is, just throwing it back. Like when you watching, that's why Too Short, I don't know if this is why he said it, but this is why it's like, I bet she can't do it with a dick in her. It's like, can she be that giving with one in her in that space? Like, but you watch women, I ride for 10 minutes and my knees pop. Bodies is trash. No funny shit, no disrespectful shit. Please don't take it the wrong way if this is listening, but this is so-real conversations. But you feel me? All of that shit is there. Now, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you off that other side. Those women who practice Kegels, who keeping yoni eggs in their shit, bruh, they pussy different. And it's not different. It's like, I don't want it to be like in a sense of, oh, it's better or no shit like that. It's like, I'm gonna use a Dragon Ball Z reference after I say this, but it's gonna make sense. But because they do the Kegels, they don't have to contract it. And then because they don't have to contract it, it's like muscle tone. When you have muscle tone is really when your body is in state of contraction all the time. Like when people tone up and shit, the more tone you have, the more contracted your body is in a regular basis. Even when it's in this relaxed state, you feel me? It just has a natural reaction to it. So when a woman's um yoni is charged up like that, when a pussy is like that, because she's been doing yoni eggs and shit like that, and it's tightened up and firm. When she doesn't have the yoni egg in her, she has strengthened her pelvic floor. You feel what I'm saying? So in strengthening her pelvic floor, it has, elevated, it makes the pussy move differently. Like it's different, it's different. Like I ain't getting into that. You feel me? Y'all know I was a hoe. But um for us as men, the same situation occurs. You feel what I'm saying? It's just that because we have not, a lot of shit that we don't do is because a lot of shit we be thinking is gay. So we can't do certain moves. Like we won't do certain poses, certain stretches. Cause it's like, nah, bro, I'm not arching my back. Hey, bro, you might want to. That sciatica gonna bust your ass if you don't. You feel me? Cause all of that shit plays into it. Sciatica also affects it too. I know. I'm gonna get to the G spot. I've been on the G spot the whole time, but I'm showing you how so much shit is intertwined with that. To why it's like, oh, it makes it so much better. It's so many other factors that are playing it into that. So like sciatica is caused when the piriformis muscle pinches the sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerves run, and this is a part of that nerve shit. Sciatic nerve runs from, I want to say sciatic nerve is S1. But whatever it is, it runs from the that nerve from like the middle of the back all the way down to the foot, right? And guess what also travels along the sciatic nerve before it diverges? The pudendal nerve, right? So, but the sciatic nerve, because it extends now, this is why, like, when we get that orgasm and we bust and shit, this is why we feel the tingle in the front of our legs. The nut ain't coming from our legs. Like, it's not. But because of the way, as I was talking about how the dermatome works, when I was talking about the nipple, it being on T4, but the dermatome being in the middle of the back and you feel that tingle, that's the same shit. You feel the tingle in your legs as the nerve came from the middle of your back. Not the middle of your back, but the lower back area, your sacrum lower back area. You feel what I'm saying? So all of that shit is affected, and it shows how much the sensitivity is sent from that aspect. You feel what I'm saying? So now it's like, for women's expression, why do men clench that? As men, when we do have this orgasm, we don't feel it in our nuts. We don't feel it in our nuts. We don't feel it in our prostate. We don't feel it in our asses. We don't feel none of that shit. So how the fuck can our G spot be there? We feel it in the tingle in our legs. You feel me? As a man who's had the orgasm, that's what it is. That's where we feel the tingle at. You don't feel it in your ass. Where they try to tell you that's where the G spot is? No. How the fuck they gonna tell you where your shit is and your body's telling you where the fuck I feel it? I feel the response to it, right? But the response derives first from, you feel me, that penile area. and then you feel it in your leg simultaneously. It's like ah, and that's what's really the contraction is in feeling that tingle. It's like if you get bit by a mosquito, your first reaction is to smack it. Why? Because that is a part of the dermatome. It felt the pain receptor hit. You feel me? When you get that itch, you scratch it. You feel what I'm saying? You have to find something to do to offset it. When we get that orgasm, that tingle that we get when the orgasm comes, it makes us tighten because there's nothing to scratch, there's nothing to hit, there's nothing to touch. Like that is a different sensation. So it requires the muscles to do a different thing. You feel what I mean? Okay. So now when we look at prostate from that perspective, the reason why the prostate is the G spot is not because it's the fucking G spot, but because it's so overly sensitive because of every nerve that is tied into it at that moment. So in the words of DMX, let's add up all the factors. You whack, you twist, nah, but not for real. Let's add up all the factors. You feel what I'm saying? You have your stomach. You have, all right, so we're gonna start from the inside first. So you have your pelvic floor weak. You feel me? You have your bladder muscles weak. You have your pelvic floor weak. You have your sphincter muscles weak. Your sphincter muscles weak. Your sphincter muscles are your bladder for your bladder control and your defecation control. You feel me? Your colon and your bladder, right? So now that is an entire just those. Now, in addition to the muscles, we have the lower back muscles. You feel what I'm saying? Then we have the pelvic floor muscles. So the pelvic floor muscles, and then we have the piriformis, the gluteus maximus, medius, and minius. All of these things are in a state of contraction or stay in a state of contraction. You feel me? And they are very weak because they spend so much time in atrophy while our bodies get heavier. Imagine that shit. If you were trying to lift weights, but you kept getting weaker as the weight got stronger or the weight got heavier, what you think is going to happen to you? You'll crush your sternum, right? What do you think happens to our lower body? Same shit. You feel me? Our bodies are getting heavier and we're letting the muscles of that area atrophy. You feel what I mean? So it's like, what do we do? So now, when you tie that into it, now you have that aspect to it. So the nerves stay firing because it's like, I'm getting heavier. Wow, like the body's getting heavier. What the muscles are supposed to carry is getting heavier, but the muscles are getting weaker because they're not being worked. You feel what I'm saying? We're not going to the gym doing squats anymore. We're not running anymore. We're not doing all of these extra things, but we're trying to get the same responses out of our body, right? So when we put all of that together and more, if a motherfucker sticks their finger in your butt and your body's natural response is to go against something that is unnatural, that is not supposed to be there, right? Like I said, with the coughing thing, that is an automatic function. Your muscles have now contracted to cough. Coughing is so powerful. I don't think people understand how powerful just the cough is. Like it's not just blowing something out. Your muscles contract in such a way that it reverses the way oxygen is came into you. Like you breathe in, but now it's reversing and forcing things out. That is what cough is. It's a natural forcing out of what's in your lungs, right? So when we look at it from that perspective of trying to stick it, like it clenches and it innervates the muscles because there's not supposed to be something going in your butt. Only shit coming out, literally. You feel me? So when you already in that space, now you're stimulating so many nerves around that S2 dermatome, S2, S3 dermatome sensory, which is also on the inside of the body. So now with the rest of the nerves that are already innervated, if you touch the prostate, it's going to be forced to send to start to stimulate the release of the seminal fluids. You feel me? It don't make you have that's not because that's not why the G spot is there. You feel what I'm saying? That doesn't make it a G spot. You feel what I'm saying? It's just the fact that it's oversensory. Because now you have all of these different muscles firing off at one time. That's a nerve innervation. Now, into that, you have the dermatomes all in the area. That S section dermatome for the sacral aspect, they are all tied to that. You feel what I'm saying? They're all tied to that. S1, S2. So the sensory aspect is there too, afferent and efferent. And they're firing all rapidly. And you in the middle of some pussy fucking and shit. It's a whole different feeling. It's a whole different dynamic. So it oversensitizes because it overstimulates. You feel what I'm saying? This is why I talk about sacral energy being sexual energy. You feel me? This is why I'm one of the, if I'm the only motherfucker talking about this shit the way that I'm talking about it, like this is why I never separate, because our ancestors never did this shit. This is why I talk about with African spirituality, you don't separate the spiritual system from the science. You feel what I'm saying? This is why the sacral energy And the sacral energy is sexual energy and also creative energy and things of that nature. But this why these things go hand in hand. From the actual nerves, your sacral area associates with your sacral energy, like your root chakra. Like every chakra of your body associates with a certain position of your body. You feel me? A collective of your body. You feel me? And it stimulates the dermatomes that go with it too. And that's why it's like when Kundalini is rising, Kundalini comes from the base of the spine and it has to go all the way back up to the third ventricle of the brain. You feel me? And you're moving that energy back and forth. Meditation is deep. Kundalini risings are very powerful in this shit because they keep your energy fluid and unblocked. You feel what I'm saying? So now that's one aspect of that shit. So now when we tie into now that we moved into the metaphysical side, we know that the sacral energy has its own nervous plexus to it. But what's below the sacral energy? The root chakra. The root chakra are the final nerves of the body, which is the area of the pelvic floor and all of that other shit, right? So the pelvic floor up until the belly button. Yeah, because the solar plexus is higher than that. So the belly button down, the belly button area to the pelvic floor area, that's sacral and root chakra, respectively. So all of that area has nerve innervation on a regular basis. You feel me? When you know those two components and you start to see how much is into it, like it's easy for as time accumulates to have erectile dysfunction. And at the same time, why they say, oh, men's fucking G spot is it's not. That's not why the G spot is sacral energy is there. That's the sacrum. That's the sacral plexus. You feel me? That's the sacral energy that the universe is giving you to create. That is where your sexual energy lies. That doesn't make it the G spot. That's what's naturally created. That's why women's is there too. And it's not a spot. You feel me? It's not exactly a spot. It is a sensory area. This is why women's is easier to find on the inside. Men's, this is why ours is on the inside because we control and dictate how to get it. You feel me? You don't need to have nothing in your butt to stimulate you. All you have to do is squeeze your pelvic floor. Right now, do a Kegel right now. Squeeze your pelvic floor as tight as you can and watch how good it feels. You didn't have to stick nothing in your butt. All you had to do was strengthen up your pelvic floor muscles. All you had to do was strengthen up your pelvic floor muscles and hold them. It feel good. I'm telling you, I do this shit like because I'm like, yo, I'm not about to have no fucking weak pelt. Not because I know now what like when you start to learn certain shit, you got to just eliminate certain perspectives out of your head, and you got to figure out how to fuck to make this shit last. There's, you know what I'm saying, how to make your body last as best as possible. I know. I started this off on a G spot, and I taught y'all a lot of shit today. Cause that's what you're supposed to do. You feel me? But when we look at those energies now, so for 3 in the Aritu chapter, which is about, chakras and shit, I talk about how the root chakra is tied to your survival, in addition to your sacral chakra being tied to your sexual energy. The sexual energy sits above survival. There's no reason why we should be having sex if we're in a state of survival. But that's our conditioning. We're programmed to be fucking while we're in a state of survival. State of survival, because the root chakra is your foundation and it's blocked by fear. People be thinking fear is, I'm scared of shit. Nah, that ain't it. Fear is your inability to understand, the lack of understanding. The lack of understanding blocks your root chakra because it puts you in a state of fear, a state of survival. You should not be having sex because you haven't even tapped into your sexual energy. This is why we think we just carnal beings and we just fuck all the time. This is why I mentioned in that episode on polygamy where I was like, polygamy is for the carnal. Monogamy is for the divine. You have to be a monogam. You got to be a divine motherfucker to tap into monogamy because there's levels to this shit. You feel me? Polygamy is for those who don't have to go to those next phases of life, those next chakra energies. You feel me? And incidentally, those same type motherfuckers who are stuck in a state of survival and who are unaware of their sacral energy or any of the shit that, we just kind of went over today, they'll allow a motherfucker to play in their butt. Like, you feel me? Like I seen video, like this new phenomenon shit is trying to like people's minds are so programmed. That's why I'm so glad that the way that I learn shit, I use my mind to its highest capacity. That's why I talk about belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Everything I speak about, everything I experience, I make sure I understand it because nobody can pull a wool over my head and say, yo, this is the way it is. Like, no, you're not deceiving me with that shit. Like, I seen a woman making a post. She was talking to another woman, and they was talking about the fact that she liked to stick, I guess, dildos or straps in her man's butt. And she was like, your man's gay. And she was like, no, he's not, because I'm a woman doing it to him. Nigga, what? You're a woman sticking a fake dick in his ass. Like, what? She was like, yo, he's suspect. She said, look, I'm gonna tell you like this. If he's taking a dildo, he'll take a real one. And she was like, no, he's not gay. He won't take. All right, nigga. All right, nigga. Do your thing. But that's this new age thing they're talking about where they're trying to get comfortable with your sexuality. No, get comfortable with understanding your motherfucking body and how it works. And nobody can tell you what the fuck you supposed to do with your shit. You feel what I'm saying? How the fuck niggas is being told by women that they can play in their ass? Like, yo, I can play in your ass because that's where your G spot is. Okay, I want that shit. And then now it's like, okay, bam, if I want for example, I use myself as an example. When I was young, every time I get head and shit, like I didn't know I didn't know why I'm doing this. And now I know from the scientific aspect what it was. I would always, clench my pelvic floor. I thought it was just squeezing my butt cheeks because the head was good, but I was like, nah, I was stimulating my quote unquote G spot. I didn't have to stick a finger up there. I just squeezed my pelvic floor. And I was like, and boop, lo and behold, shot the fuck off. It's like, god damn. And I picked that up because like when I first started having sex, I didn't know how to control the orgasm. It was just like, yo, fuck it. We just gonna keep fucking. It's like, yo, you ain't about to bust yet. No, I don't know how. I don't know how to do this shit yet. You feel me? But then once I learned how to squeeze the pelvic floor, it's like, oh shit. And then that's when it was like, bam, all right, I'm ready to nut. Bam, here it go. You feel me? You can control your orgasms by having a strong pelvic floor because once you strengthen your pelvic floor, you know to relax it once you go into the vagina. Our pelvic floors are already contracted, not relaxed. They're contracted when we go into vagina based off of the other factors that we have playing out. Being obese, fucked up bladders, constipation, fucked up colons, all of these things play a part because that nervous part, that innervation from those nerves are always active. So when we actually run into some pussy, it's just like a crash dummy for real. We ain't gonna last. We ain't gonna last at all because it's not even about the discipline. It's not even about the stamina as much as it is about the strength of the muscles in that area. You feel what I'm saying? This shit is deep because now when you look at how pharmacy plays out, the pharmaceutical companies and shit, they know erectile dysfunction is going to be a thing because they're creating the erectile dysfunction. And you don't even know they're creating it. Every disease, every problem, they have the solution for it because they created the fucking problem. You feel me? They created a fucking problem. And all of this shit started because motherfuckers knew that you can control, this is supply and demand. You can control the entire, like when you know somebody's full body, their anatomy, their physiology, their biochemistry, you can make them do whatever the fuck you want them to do, whether they know it or not. People be thinking, oh, I'm free. I'm like, no, they control. I always tell motherfuckers who be like, yo, I'm ready for war. You can't go to war with a motherfucker who know what you eat, nigga. You can't. Because when they know what you eat, they know how your body responds to it. They don't give a fuck about the motherfucker who eat fast food every day. Your body ain't in no condition to fight no war. You feel me? Your body ain't in a condition to think properly. Because we know everything. When you really look at the pimp game and look at how this game is working. You feel me? At any given moment, if health was really the main objective, they could lobby to have look, if they can shut down a motherfucker for saying some crazy shit on Instagram, they can shut down fast food for killing people. But they don't. They need fast food. They need that industry. You feel me? Motherfuckers don't even realize they're not eating real food anymore. Because logically, the shit don't make sense. Logically, the shit don't calculate. Think about it. You really think there's that many animals in the world to feed this many hungry motherfuckers? Animals ain't producing babies this fast. They're not having the litters run that fast. Think about it. Only thing that's having babies like that in abundance is fish. You feel me? But even that's starting to get suspects. Like, how y'all feeding so much? and we wasting so much too, something's off. Something's horribly off. But they know what you eat, so they know how your body's gonna respond. This is why it's like, yo, when you turn 50, 60 years old, come get your prostate checked. You know why? Because we know that from the time you were born up until now, we've done everything we were supposed to do the way you ate. We gave you a food guide pyramid to tell you what to eat. We gave you, like, you know what I'm saying? We told you what we wanted your body to do. So at this particular time, you come and get your prostate checked, and it's, you got colon cancer. It wasn't a mystery. This shit wasn't hereditary. Like, that's one of the biggest mind fucks they keep telling people. The shit's in your family. No, the habit is in your family and the ignorance is in your family. I'm gonna take a moment of silence on that and I'm gonna say it again. The habit and the ignorance is in your family. It's not genetic, it's not hereditary. Because logically speaking, like when you really think, it would not be able to be broken if it was. When shit is genetic, there's no way it can be broken. We're actively breaking cycles by making choices, y'all. I'm getting tight and I'm getting passionate about this right now because it's like I've been watching how bamboos and how confidently motherfuckers talk about certain shit and really can't see like, yo, you know what you saying don't really make sense right now. You feel what I'm saying? They're like, yo, this is like this was in no, it's not in your family. That habit, that lifestyle, and that conditioning stayed in your family and it led to the same shit. You feel me? People be thinking like, oh, it's just you eat. No, everything ties into the shit that your family repeats, that you repeat. You know what I'm saying? If it was truly hereditary, if you broke the cycle, it'll still show up in the next cycle. How the fuck does it stop? How the fuck does the next generation not inherit? Like, there's a skip. Now, I get it. You had the phenotypes of shit. Motherfuckers look like somebody of a past generation, but for the most part, that shit that they keep talking about is like hereditary disease, like cancers and certain, like that shit ain't hereditary. That shit ain't hereditary. The genome, the genetic, the genomics of that person, the introns and the exons and shit has stored what has been passed down, but it's like the lifestyle has been passed down to make it activate. If there's shit that you don't know, it's not gonna manifest in itself in your life. You feel me? I use a more stable example when I say this, like my father not being in my life was the first step to me breaking the cycle to being a better man for the setting the example to have better men in my family from my generation on. There's no template for me to draw on. You feel me? Deadbeat father shouldn't, it's not hereditary. Like that shit ain't hereditary. But yet you expect me to believe that cancer and shit that's caused, like when they look at breast cancer, right? I'm gonna talk about this because this is important. We have sisters, you know what I'm saying? We have aunties and shit, we have mamas and shit. Breast cancer, they say, oh, breast cancer is in your family. Is breast cancer really in your family? Really? Did it really run down? Or has your family used the same aluminum degree, secret, whatever deodorant passed down through generation? Ask yourself this. Do the women who may have had breast cancer, do they use a similar deodorant? Check that deodorant and see if it has aluminum in it. If it has aluminum in it, bam, there it is. Because when you put that shit into your body, because now simultaneously what they've done with deodorants, and I'm showing you just how the body, how they know what to do. So, and they call it hereditary because it's the habit passes down. So the aluminum. So now they create deodorants called antiperspirants. This was one of the greatest mind fucks ever because it's like I'm gonna use an antiperspirant deodorant. You feel me? Motherfuckers really think antiperspirant means don't stink. You feel me? It means don't sweat. Your body's naturally supposed to sweat. That's one of your three modes of excretion. You feel me? I talk to like, yo, make sure you get the antiperspirant. I've had motherfuckers literally utter these words to me. Get me the antiperspirant deodorant because it smells good. Their mind has associated the word perspirant to scent. Don't know why. I can't tell you. But to perspire means to sweat. Anti means against. These deodorants stop you from sweating while putting aluminum in your body so your body does not excrete it. Because there's four modes of excretion. You have defecation, urination, perspiration, and lacrimation. Lacrimation, of course, is crying. You feel me? That's why you have salty tears when you cry sometimes. But crying is more so the release of the soul. You have perspiration, which is sweat. defecation, which is shitting, and urination, which is pissing. There's 4 ways body is going to get shit out of it. The biggest way is sweat, because your body is the, like, when you can't shit. Now, hear me out. Now we're gonna rock. We're gonna bring it all back. When you can't shit and you can't pee, you feel me? Because you've been in school, you've been ever like, so you don't shit and you don't pee. So now, how is the body gonna get? And you're not crying because you don't just cry for random reasons and shit in school and in classes and work and shit. How is the body? How's this shit gonna get out of your body? Supposed to be through perspiration. It's not coming out of your armpits. So what is it doing? It's going into your lymph nodes that are in that. It's not called the mammary lymph nodes. Okay, it's a lymph node. It's a lymph system that is right there under your your fucking armpits and shit, right? So that aluminum, Pete, that aluminum from the deodorant goes into your armpits. Well, it goes into their armpits and shit, and then it puts an antiperspirant in it, so it can't sweat out of the armpit. So where does it have to go through? It has to go through the entire body. When it goes through the entire body, where does it excrete from? The skin. You feel me? And what do we do with the skin? Like, that's why they create topical shit, because they know, and I'm saying that because they know what goes into your body, they know what it's gonna do in your body, and they know how you should respond to it. They're not gonna tell you any of this shit. Right? So now when we look at us, and now and this is what I'm talking about, the lack of the ignorance, the lack of the information, and it's what's hindering us a lot, because now when we tying it back in, you have women literally looking and telling motherfuckers, dudes, let me play in your ass because your G spot is there. No, it's not. Well, your G spot is there, but you feel me? You don't have to have a finger in your butt to reach that. You don't. All you have to do is be able to all you have to be able to do is contract your pelvic floor as strong as you want it to be. And you had the strongest nut you ever had. But you have to do the other things in process to make sure that your pelvic floor is strong, to make sure your lower back is strong, to make sure that your gluteal muscles are strong, because all that plays into the reality. You feel what I'm saying? That's what's going to keep your prostate in check. And of course, you got to make sure you eat the right shit, because you don't want an enlarged prostate. You feel me? But there's ways in which, you got to keep your prostate healthy. So then you got to think about it too. They're like, yo, as soon as you put the prostate, that's an unhealthy prostate anyway. You feel me? That's an unhealthy prostate any fucking way. You feel me? So it's like, what other things do we have to do? We have to start educating ourselves, my brothers. Like, yo, when I'm like, we're in the whole age now where it's just like, yo, if that's what you do, let me put my disclaimer in there, because again, I don't give a fuck. If you like having fingers in your ass, if you like shit getting put up in your ass, cool. By all means, do your motherfucking thing. It's your prerogative, Bobby Brown. But at the same time, my brothers, don't let our ignorance get motherfuckers convincing us, oh, well, it's gonna feel good. Because over time, that shit breaks you down. Like, nobody's gonna be able to tell me no shit like that. Like, I stand on that shit. If a woman say some shit like, yo, you gotta learn to lighten up. Like, no, ain't no lighten up. You're not playing in my ass. I don't fuck with you no more. Damn, you really gonna cut? I don't eat ass. I don't have ass. I don't have my ass eaten. I don't fuck with nothing like that. Like, that shit's not, it's nasty, for one. But for two, it's like, as a man, you're not doing that to me. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. You feel me? Like, so, but the purpose of that is because of, I stand on the information behind it. So it's not a coercion. Like, this is why I always tell people, knowledge is power, but the person who has more knowledge than you, or appears to have more knowledge than you, has the power over you. They can make you do certain shit. You feel me? I think they call it pegging now. You feel me? Women are pegging niggas, bro. Like, and you're trying to convince me they not, nah, they like that, but they're trying to make it normal. This shit's not normal. You feel me? But again, it all ties back into the biological aspects, the biochemical aspects and shit like that. The G spot is what it's supposed to be. And it will allow you, to have a stronger orgasm, whatever the case may be. But it's only because of the nervous system that's structured there. It's only because of the pelvic floor, and you dictate that shit. You feel me? Like I said, when a motherfucker sticks their finger in your butt, your finger contracts because your butt contracts because the finger's not supposed to be in there. You feel me? It can only relax when things are coming out. It cannot relax when things are going in, because they're not supposed to go the fuck in. So when that happens, it contracts. And when it contracts, and it stimulates the entire nervous structure everywhere. It stimulates the pudendal nerve. And if you're already in some pussy and shit, pop goes the motherfucking weasel. Pop goes the motherfucking weasel.
And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. I think I talked enough of my shit about this one. But yeah, yo, I really want to talk about that shit, bro, because I was like, shit stupid. Like, cause it'd be like, motherfuckers be articulating dumb shit. Like, our motherfuckers really be articulating dumb shit, and motherfuckers listen to it and run with it. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers really right now in real time believe that that's gonna make a man nut better, and not realize that he controls his nut. And if you can't control your nut, like I said, erectile dysfunction, that's a part of a weak pelvic structure, bro. You feel me? Tying it even back to when I was talking about, yo, men hunt, women twerk. You feel what I'm saying? Tying it back even more to sacral energy. You feel me? There's layers to this shit, yo. I hate that I hate that we can't get the information right because it's like, you feel me? Motherfuckers don't want to do the due diligence to go to this level. You feel me? I always talk about belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding because I hate that people are stuck in a state of belief. Reach some understanding about some shit because otherwise, when a motherfucker tell you some shit, you just gonna run with it. Like my niggas, bro. Listen, bro. Motherfuckers is really saying, dudes, you can have shit put in your ass to stimulate something without knowing. Like they're not even us. You feel me? That just shows me in a mentality. That shows for me, that's a colonizer mentality for one, and that's a mentality of you feel me, dominion and shit. Like motherfucker, like that's some emasculating shit. Like when you think about colonizers, you feel me? Colonizers, what did they do when they came to the land? They raped the people. You feel me? They raped the people. I'm gonna use some semantics right quick, and I'm gonna use some words that's gonna make you like, oh shit, for real, scene. Yes, for real. When you look at the word missionary, right? What do we call missionary sex? Who started missionary sex? You feel me? Missionary sex became missionary sex because missionaries were raping the people. It was an emasculating thing. Like, you feel me? You held the women down, you're on top of them, you fucking them. Now I get it. We're in today's day and time where motherfuckers is on some shit like, okay, that's, be on top. It is what it is. Like, and you're not in that capacity, but you still call it a missionary. You still want to choke a motherfucker while you on top of them. You still find certain shit. It's like, that's a mind fuck because sex feels good and you're doing damaging shit with it. You're making pain love. That's what you're creating that unity as and shit. So when you fuck, it got to be painful. It's got to be like rape. We think rape culture is just rape. Nah, rape culture got layers to it, baby. It got layers to it. And sometimes women are participants of rape culture too. You feel what I'm saying? Buck breaking, playing in a man's that's what that was. You feel me? Buck breaking literally went from having to tie the man down, you feel me? And making an example of him by fucking him in his ass or whatever the case may be, to now simply saying, you feel me? your G spot is your prostate, it's in your ass. You feel me? I want to say the man's name is Neely Fuller. He said white supremacy, racism and white supremacy is going to reach a point where black men are going to black men are going to be emasculated so much that they begin to wear dresses. He said this shit in like 1960, 1970. Y'all may not be wearing dresses. I mean, if you wear dresses, that's your prerogative, Bobby Brown. But the point of it is like there's been a lot of conditioning that we think we were born with. And it's not. We weren't born with this shit. You feel me? So now it's like the buck breaking has become so subtle and so easy. You feel me? Just imagine that shit, being on a plantation, seeing a big, strong motherfucker have to be forced down to be emasculated, to be pounded out by a white dude and say, okay, bam. Now, to where you have the big, strong niggas like Tank coming out and say, yeah, get my ass ate, get my dick sucked by a dude. It don't make me gay. This is why we have these so frail conversations. This is why I speak on masculinity from that divine level, not this little bullshit ass carnal shit right now. You feel me? There's always an answer for something. The whole answer of, and this episode was my response to her asking, so if they G spot wasn't there, then why did they clench the ass? I just told you every reason why. Every reason why. And this is what masculinity does: analysis and deconstruction. Now, when you can go sit with that. You can go sit with that. Whoever can go sit with that. It's like, oh, if you really, it's like they're like, well, now you know why we clench our ass when that happens. Because it's the pelvic floor. We don't need it. Like, you feel me? We don't need a finger in there. But now we got motherfuckers just willy-nilly doing the shit. Shit crazy. Shit crazy. But it's all derived from the lack of understanding, bro. Ignorance is a motherfucker. And then they have reduced us down to sensory shit. So everything is about how much we can feel. That's not masculine, that's feminine. But like I said, this is why I talked about toxic femininity. This is why So Frail 2 is about toxic femininity, because that's what we have accepted. And toxic femininity is destruction. You feel me? That's right now what we're believing is masculinity, destructive shit. You feel me? To go against your body's natural reaction, destructive shit. You feel me? It's destructive shit. But like I said, I wanted this to be a thorough understanding. You feel me? Because everybody talking about G spot this, G spot that, and it's like, yo, dudes, I want y'all to be, if you control your G spot. Like, I'm celibate now. I've been celibate for a minute, bro. And it's like at this point, I guess I'm a virgin again, bro. And I'm saving myself for that one person. But I've had enough sex in my life to be good. You feel me? I've fucked enough situations. That sounds so fucked up because they're not situations. I've had sex with enough women in my day to know that, okay, man, when I wanted that powerful, I knew I squeezed my fucking pelvic floor. I was killing that shit. And then it was like, it got different because when I wanted to prove a point, when I wanted to be like nasty on some shit, I'd be getting some head. And I'm like, let me know when you about to bust. All right, I got you. And then it's like, I'd be like, I'm about to. And then I just squeeze real tight, boom, and shoot it all before they have a chance to move and shit. I was some fucked up shit, man. I'm savage, bro. I'm savage, bro. But it's the transparency that I got to keep 100 with y'all, because we all do some fucked up shit. But I'm just saying that in this because that's how I stimulated the G spot. You feel me? I knew how to contract that floor and, make it strong enough to boop, let it fly. You feel me? That's how you get a strong orgasm. It ain't got nothing to do with a motherfucker sticking a finger in your butt and pressing on it. That's like, the fuck. It's trash, if you ask me. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And all I'm gonna say is this: when it comes to sex and shit with our boys, man, we need to teach them more. Like, before we even teach them about sex, we need to teach them about anatomy and physiology. Before we, what I'm saying, and teach them about anatomy and physiology, we got to understand anatomy and physiology to let them know this is how your body works. This is the shit that is going to start happening to your body. So so nobody can manipulate you or get you into, you feeling certain shit. Can say, okay, nah, why? If you don't know why you're feeling something, the motherfucker can tell you, like, I ain't gonna hold you. Look, as a kid, I got so much pussy because I would tell a woman why she was feeling me. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, you just make me feel this way. And I'll tell her, like, bam, 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 and I get some pussy. Like, you feel me? I get some pussy, like, because she didn't know what I knew or I thought, whatever. And I was just making some shit up, really, to be honest, at that age. But it's like, ignorance can be guided by what it believes in and who they find trust in. Those women trusted me. Those women believed me. I was never like a person that couldn't find peace in. So whatever I said to them, they believed it. They fuck with it. You feel me? They fuck with it. And I don't want our sons to continue that behavior. You can do whatever you want with your sons. I don't care. But I'm looking at the bigger picture of the culture. Who we are right now is the culmination of all the shit that I just talked about. Do we like what we are? No. Our women are still complaining about how we ain't shit. We still bitching about trying to be high value men that we ain't and shit. And we're nowhere. We're fucking nowhere. So whatever system was that whatever worked before, it didn't work. Let's try something new. Let's try something new. So we need to be in a space where we're now teaching our sons early, like about their bodies, about sex, about sexual energy, about yo, bro, don't be out here fucking everything. Teach them from all aspects. Like you feel what I'm saying? I can't wait to get this kind of information to my kids. Like, you feel me? You see how I went through every level? Y'all, now when y'all see when I talk about, religion being mythology, ritual, and allegory, when I talk about life being mythology, ritual, and allegory, there's 3 levels to everything you're supposed to experience. How many of us are still stuck on level 1? You feel me? You see how I was able to tie this from the prostate, the muscles, the sexual energy, the chakras, and all of the shit? Like, this is what we supposed to be being taught. You feel me? This is what we're supposed to be being taught as human beings. You feel me? Shit that makes you elevate and ascend to that right level to say, oh, this ain't okay. You feel me? But we ain't learning that shit. We ain't. And I want our sons to be able to learn that shit. If they learn that shit, then it sets a different standard. You feel me? It sets a different standard because now the women now strive to be something more. Now the women just want to be fucked. You feel me? The women just want to be fucked because we're raising our boys just to fuck. You feel me? Let's raise our boys to be more, bro. Like, let's raise our boys to be more. I want to have conversations where our sons would be like, yo, man, Shorty was coming on to me, and I just told her, like, yo, she ain't enough yet. Not on no disrespectful shit, but in the space of, you know, there's levels to where I am. Women are in that space. You got to come up here. You got to get like, yo, we need to be back up there too because the women gonna change. The BBLs are gonna stop. They gonna like they doing all of this shit because of what we want to fuck, not because of what we want to be with, not because of what we desire. And it all derives from the ignorance of the shit that we derived and that we relegated our shit down to sensory shit. We need to teach our boys better, yo. We need to teach our boys better. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.